Ooh, I tell her get low, gon' rock with me. You gon' mess around now and get a shopping spree. I'm now in your possession like apostrophe. Ooh, enough with all the talking, I just told her say less and do more, do more, do more, do more. Ooh, I tell her do more, do more, do more, do more. Go ahead, set the mood right, dirty like a food fight. You been working all day, load it up in 2 nights. Do more, do more, do more, do more. Ooh, I tell her, yeah. And she gon' work that right. I'ma mess around and drown when she drop that down. No more phone me blowing up, I like not right now. Oh, I swear that she in next the way she work that mouth. Whoa, automatic cause she move, she be cousin static. I be straight up like an addict, might become an addict. Now I gotta have it, had enough with all the moves, yeah, move here. Ooh, let me grab it now, I'm on 1 year. Now I'm not done yet, told her wait right here. I'll be back one sec, this is just time out, this is not no way. Go and grab that friend, and you know what's next, stay. You been rockin' with an all-star, baby, and I know you coming early like a five-star, baby. Packing out the seat, this ain't no hostile, baby, and they know me in the city like a mob star. Ooh, I tell her get low, gon' rock with me. You gon' mess around now and get a shopping spree. I'm now in your possession like apostrophe. Ooh, enough with all the talking, I just told her say less and do more, do more, do more, do more. Ooh, I tell her do more, do more, do more, do more. Go ahead, set the mood right, dirty like a food fight. You been working all day, load it up in 2 nights. Do more, do more, do more, do more. Ooh, I tell her, yeah.
Feel like John Moran, need a triple-double. Told him check the stats, yeah, I got a couple. I don't drive the ball, now I never fumble. I'm the MVP, now I feel like Russell. Feel like John Moran, need a triple-double. Told him check the stats, yeah, I got a couple. I don't drive the ball, now I never fumble. I'm the MVP, now I feel like Russell. Yeah, I need it now, told him on the lay. I've been moving dog, yeah, I'm on the way. I don't hear the talk, don't care what they say. I don't got no patience, I can't ever wait. I've been trying to get it, running up all these digits. And I've been in the gym, I've been up doing minutes. I just put in that work, for them it's strictly business. And I see through the face, they all just burning bridges. Feel like John Moran, need a triple-double. Told him check the stats, yeah, I got a couple. I don't drive the ball, now I never fumble. I'm the MVP, now I feel like Russell. Feel like John Moran, need a triple-double. Told him check the stats, yeah, I got a couple. I don't drive the ball, now I never fumble. I'm the MVP, now I feel like Russell. Yeah, they don't want it done like I want it, dog. Yeah, they say they want it, then they took the summer off. I've been going down the list, checking numbers off. I was checking on your numbers, told them something's off. I was at the bottom, now you know I'm climbing. Now they sending deals, they know I ain't signing. They been trying to sell it, they know I ain't buying. When they send a text, dog, I ain't replying. Feel like John Moran, need a triple-double. Told him check the stats, yeah, I got a couple. I don't drive the ball, now I never fumble. I'm the MVP, now I feel like Russell. Feel like John Moran, need a triple-double. Told him check the stats, yeah, I got a couple. I don't drive the ball, now I never fumble. I'm the MVP, now I feel like Russell.
What's next for me, Joe? I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, don't nobody's enemy. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working them up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in mine, yeah.
Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah we winning by a landslide. Never see me coming, I'm a landmine. Yeah, I ain't taking orders in command, like, yeah, you about to see me on demand, like, you know on demand. If you ain't know, you about to understand. Yeah, I got the team by my side, right hand. Yeah, take it to a string, you ain't seen it like that. Yeah, and it's the dream, and we coming for the bag. Yeah, and we ain't never going back now. Future expedited, now we on the fast track now. They won't lend a hand, now they see us on the map now. It's time to act out. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah, you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go, at the top of the class on a roll, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know. Maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, ayy, on the road, here we go, yeah, at the top of the class on a roll, ayy, and it's time to run it up, yeah you know, yeah, maxed out, put the pedal to the floor, yeah, on the road, here we go, here we go. Here we go. On the road, here we go, here we go.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Frankie Candles live stream every single weekday right here at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Mafia, oh God, those higher daily time frames are not looking too good. We're going to be going over everything on tonight's live stream. Are we about to see the next leg down on Bitcoin? I want to talk about what I'm looking at here on the charts, how low we can go, even though we've been talking about this for quite some time, but we may actually see this happen somewhat soon, unless we fake out to the upside somehow. We're going to be covering those bearish signals, as well as not only the macro support that we've been looking at, also some local levels down below. And I'm actually going to give you guys a little bit of hopium, at least in the local, in the short term here. I'm going to give you some local hopium for a potential bounce back to the upside. But to be quite honest here, guys, Bitcoin is showing some dangerous signs on those higher daily time frames. That 3-day is still not looking that good. Is this something we've been looking at on the live stream for quite some time? and we're finally seeing it, kind of not play out, but we're starting to see that money flow actually go into the red. So we're going to be talking about those higher time frames. We'll talk about the local levels, and then we'll also take a look at some of those altcoins. Thank you all for tuning in. Don't forget to smash that like button, guys. Every 100 likes we get gives you guys some free chances to win some free crypto, and maybe some Frankie Candles hats, and actually our friends over at Super U, guys, which is my Aztecian Cactus Moss Water replacement. This is the Andromeda-derived alien scam water. This is the most mental clearing, clean energy with a tad bit of extra focus. I don't know what is in this stuff, guys, but shout out to our friends at Super U. Shout out to them. Unbelievable stuff. But yeah, we also sent us a big package of some tester samples, so maybe we'll give that away. I don't know. Shout out to Tony D. Can we give away like a energy drink? I don't know if we could do that, but if we can, maybe we'll give away some of that. But we'll be giving away some free crypto as we always do on this YouTube channel every single Friday. But before we jump into it, guys, let's say what's up to the chat. We got Mikey20 in the chat, said, loving the Bing Bong hat, boss. Oh, yeah, shout out to the Bing Bong hat. This is actually not a new thing. This is actually, we've had these for quite some time, but when we changed up the merch stuff, which we are getting going, we're getting some stuff back online here, guys. We're going to be adding some T-shirts. We're going to add the Bing Bong hats back. We obviously, one of the only pieces of merch that we have available right now are the Frankie Candles hats that I wear normally. But yeah, we're going to get these Bing Bong hats back up and running. Maybe we'll make them in black and white as well if you're not a fan of the blue and the purple. But yeah, shout out to Darren Does Things. What is going on, brother? And shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob, guys. Rob, indeed, did get his CandleMafia tattoo. I don't know if Rob wants me to share a picture with it, but I have photo proof. He got the CandleMafia tattoo, and it looks absolutely fire. Shout out to Rob the Crypto Snob. Absolutely epic. I can't believe you did that. I am honored, my friend. I am honored, and I know the CandleMafia is as well. But we got the Godfather in the chat. Speaking of the Mafia, drop some love for the Mafia for the Godfather in the chat, guys. Shout out to Dave Digital, Rob the Crypto Snob, Crypto Billy, Captain Kirk, Crypto Anon, Tony D. You guys know Chemistry Bro, all the mods. Drop them some love in the chat. And without further ado, shout out to Grim. Shout out to Gen Z. What is going on, bro? Let's see. Yeah, shout out to Gen Z. Said anything that enhances my brain, give it to me, please. Shout out to Gen Z. Tony, do you have the link? I am not paid to say this, guys. They did send me some free stuff, but I would not be talking about this if it didn't work. Tony, if you have the link to the Super U website, can you drop it so people can check it out in the chat? Because this stuff is insane, and it absolutely. I don't know. This might replace my black coffee. I'm not gonna lie, guys. I am literally. Hopefully it's better apparently it's better for you than black coffee, but hopefully I can switch off. But anyway, guys, with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into the charts and try to figure out what we got going on here. So let's take a look. But guys, real quick, before we jump into the local price action, I do want to talk about a few things here, right? Now, obviously, we have started. Rectember is officially started, guys. Wake me up when Rectember ends. As you guys know, September is typically a bearish month for Bitcoin. Now, this is not always the case. If we come on back here all the way to 2020, where is it? All the way back here to 2023, you can see we did actually have a bullish month. We got that green candle in September 2023. However, more often than not, when September happens, like you can see here, typically we do get bearish months in September, right? Now, this is not guaranteed, but again, statistically speaking, it is more likely to have a bearish September than a bullish one. And then Octobers are statistically bullish, right? So it's Uptober and Rectember, or shout out to Darren Does Things was saying September and Uptober. Or I guess we can call it Bulltober. But yeah, it's not the fact that it's September that makes me think we could come down. I'm going to show you guys exactly on the charts why I'm looking for that move to the downside potentially. But how did we get to where we are right now? Obviously, guys, we have just been in this complete and total downtrend for, let's count it. The better half of almost 190 days, right? Just multiple months of sideways action / just a consistent, slow, brutal grind to the downside here. This has been an absolute nightmare as far as like boring price action. But as we've seen this, right, every pump we get to the upside, we've looked for these lower highs and the breaks of structure to the downside on every single one of these pumps. And as you guys know, recently, as we were covering the dip to 49K and the push back up here, we were looking at this pump as a lackluster push up to higher prices based off our higher time frame money flow, which is on the 2-day, was kind of the first thing we were looking at. 2-day money flow in the red, and then obviously we're going to get back to this 3-day in just a second. I'm actually going to hide some of these levels. We do have the 3-day money flow now freshly crossed over into the red, and it's not even really trying to curve up at all. It's just kind of just completely coming straight down here, which is not the best sign, obviously. As you guys know, the money flow indicates the longer-term trend, and the trend is your friend until the end. And obviously, you know, as we got that drop down to 49K, we were looking for this to be a potential lackluster bounce to the upside to put in a macro lower high in two major areas. Area number one being this golden pocket value area low, and then the 786 tapped weekly naked point of control / daily level of resistance that we had up here. We all know, you know, especially when money flow is in the red on the higher time frames, as money flow indicates a longer term trend, we are looking for lackluster pumps to the upside, although those lackluster pumps on something like the 3-day can be quite extreme, right? And we covered this on the live stream saying, hey guys, looks like we can get a bounce here, especially after we printed this 2- and 3-day green dot. Actually, the 2-day green dot, I believe, is what we were looking at right here. Looking for that continuation back into our range. And you know, once we got above this value area low at $60,435, this is where we were saying, hey, we could potentially get a continuation of that pump, but we need to be careful at the area where the next area where we have the highest likelihood of a rejection and a potential lower high to continue our macro downtrend to the downside, because whether you want to believe it or not, this is a downtrend with lower highs and lower lows, which again is why we were looking for not only a lower high here, but we knew if we didn't hold that lower high, this would be that next key area of resistance, again, given away for free on this live stream. So make sure you subscribe to the channel if you're not. But this was the next area that we were likely to put that lower high in at, right? Now, obviously, we don't know if this is going to wind up being the actual macro lower high, right? We obviously need to come down and break structure to the downside once again to see the continuation of that downtrend. Now, again, you know, it is just kind of coincidental, right? Coincidental that we got that rejection right from that 786 fib level, which we knew was the highest likelihood place to put that lower high in at. And now we have lost the macro range once again. And with the way that this 3-day money flow looks, guys, I will say, based off the 3-day, it would be more likely than not, as long as this money flow remains in the red, that this downtrend is likely to continue. Now, this is not me calling for a guaranteed move to $47,500, which is the next key level of support. You're going to want to have that marked off on your chart. Weekly naked point of control sitting at $47,000, $47,480, right? That is the next key level of support. I'm going to talk about the lower levels because we've gone over them. To be honest, like we've gone over them like all the way back since May, right? And you guys know that next key level of support underneath the $47,500 mark is going to be the consolidation in the 40,000s, right? Or in the mid to lower 40,000s, right? Leading all the way down to about 41,000 or $40,000 even. Now, I'm going to take a look at the heat maps again with you guys today in a second, but at this point, right, 3-day money flow crossover into the green is not into the red is not really looking good, right? Like if I were just to base my analysis off of the 3-day here, my thought process would be a continuation to the downside. Now, it's not all doom and gloom here. I'm going to show you guys a little bit of hopium, but I will say, as far as, you know, getting a move up into new all-time highs at this point, not that it's impossible, but we're going to have to see some crazy fake out, right? Maybe we get some black swan, bullish black swan news, right? We just rip to the upside, right? I want to be clear, it's not possible to get the rip to the upside. But again, like just based off this higher time frames, this money flow coming out has helped us not only anticipate this lower high, but also this lower high, and then most recently this lower high, right? So every time we saw what we wanted, now this isn't going to work 100% of the time. We're going to be wrong at some point. But you know, this is not just random gambling, right? Like these levels are predicted at very specific levels for very specific reasons. And again, like, you know, if we do see the fact that we saw that lower high coming at the 786 makes a lot of sense for a continued move to the downside. And then you start looking at the 3-day money flow crossover into the red. If we take a look at the 4-day, you can see, did I say 3-day money flow crossover into the red? 4-day money flow also continuing out here. Not a good look, right? Typically for a massive move to the upside, and we talk about this with the volume profiles, guys. A lot of people asked me, you know, Frankie, we know, you know, I learned the volume profiles from you. I understand how they work. I mean, even trading them and starting to make some money. And I understand that I should be looking for shorts above the highs and longs below the lows. And this has been working pretty good for me. But how do I know when that range is eventually going to break down or up, right? How do I know if the range is going to give me a big breakout or a big breakdown? And I simply answer this question by pointing to money flow, right? And we actually use this to anticipate many breakouts of many ranges, right? Even this local range right here. Even this local range right here that we've been watching, right? One of the main things that made me anticipate and hold a long position for this bigger break to the upside was the fact that we had our sideways range, but look at our money flow here on the 10-hour, right? That money flow finally crosses into the green, which gave us the idea that we were very likely to get a continuation and a break out of that range to our next key level of resistance, again, given on this live stream. But money flow was the kind of the thing that was pointing to that, right? Like we knew it was probably higher likelihood that we would get the continuation of the trend up rather than a big break down. And we can use this same exact technique on the higher time frames, right? Coming on over to something like the 3 and the 4 day, right? Like if we're looking at price, money flow crosses over into the green, we get the massive leg to the upside, and then price starts to consolidate, and we start seeing this money flow crossing down or trending to the downside, and now we're seeing it cross over into the red. Could we potentially see the same thing that we saw in the 10-hour for the break out of this range? Are we going to see this range finally get a big breakdown to these lower prices? And to be quite honest with you, I don't like looking at the bearish case, guys. I do not want price to dump as much as the next guy, maybe even more. I hold quite a bit of Bitcoin. I don't want everything to go down, but based off the 3-day and the 4-day, like these time frames, like very, in a binary manner, look very bearish, right? And again, money flow indicates a longer-term trend. So that money flow stays in the red. You're going to expect this trend to just continue to the downside. And to be quite honest with you, although we're still in we've been in a downtrend here, right? With the highs, the lows, the lower highs, the lower lows, the lower highs, the lower lows. This is a downtrend. However, money flow just crossed over into the red, meaning that, maybe this downtrend is just getting started, which, I know nobody wants to hear 47K incoming, 41K incoming, etc. And I'm not saying it's guaranteed, but, these time frames could easily be pointing towards these prices, and I want you guys to be aware of it, right? Just like when we were looking for the dump up here and the dump up here, not the most popular thing to say on YouTube, but I'm so happy that I just look at the information and I bring it to you guys on the live stream, because I get messages all the time, people chatting in the chatting, because that's what you do in the chat, you chat, people saying like, thank God, you were looking at this because I would have just been looking for the breakout, and thank God you gave me the other end of the spectrum or the other flip side of the coin, and we get those moves down, right? And I'm not magic, right? It's just based off the TA. So 3 and 4 day, definitely not looking that good. So keep that in mind. That's kind of my longer term analysis. This has remained the same ever since about May, looking at all of these pumps as lackluster pumps to the upside for lower highs and lower lows. And we are just simply in that situation. And I'm just really glad I kept bringing it up on the live stream here. Now I will, Frankie, I don't want doom and gloom, bro. Just give me some dang hopium here. I want my bags to go up. And I'm not here to tell you your bags are going to pump if I don't think they're going to. So I'm not going to give you hopium. I'm just kidding. I'm going to give you a little local hopium. In my own personal opinion, right, these are the higher time frames, right? The 3-day is a pretty high time frame, and this takes time to play out. You have to understand that. And that's why when we got this first dump or this last dump down to 49K and we looked for the retracement to the upside, we were still macro, bearish based off the higher time frames, right? But that doesn't mean that we're shorting down here, right? We understand that price has to come up and make that lower high, so we get bullish in the short term. We capitalize on these little long positions from lower prices, right? We make money on the way up, and then we just be really careful around these lower high levels for the continuation down. Now, with that being said, we're kind of in a similar situation, right? Just because the 3-day money flow crossed into the red doesn't necessarily mean we're just going to insta-dump to 47K, right? We still have some local levels of support that we could potentially hold, and then maybe we see that money flow somehow roll back up. We could get saved here. But one thing I want to point you guys to is the daily, right? Daily VWAP is coming back up here, right? So I'm not necessarily anticipating an insta-dump here. So just keep that in mind. Hey, shout out to QWERTY. Thank you so much, QWERTY. Shout out to QWERTY for giving those 5 Frankie Candles memberships. Let's go. I missed that by a mile. That must have popped up a while ago. But shout out to QWERTY. Thank you so much for those 5 Frankie Candles memberships. And shout out to whoever got them. I know they're appreciative as well. Shout out. Oh, Michael Snelling. Could have been a better person to give that to. Shout out to Rigo, LG, and Next Level. Welcome to the Mafia. And Phil. Shout out to Phil. Getting that gifted membership. Let's go. Shout out to Michael Snelling and Mickey. Welcome back, guys. Good to see you in here. A lot of people took a break from crypto recently. I have a feeling they may take a break again, not you guys specifically, but I have a feeling a lot of people are going to take a break again in case, especially if we see this drop to the downside. But taking a look at the daily time frame here, guys, we do have this daily green dot about to print, and also, to be quite honest, right, money flow is kind of spiking up here, which is really interesting. So just because that money flow crossover into the red happened does not necessarily mean insta-dump, right? We could easily see some continued either consolidation or ranging or maybe even another pump before we wind up seeing that money flow play out. That 3-day time frame takes quite a bit of time to play out here. So, hey, shout out to Jordy. Let's go. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you so much for the super chat. Said, take us to 53K, baby. But yeah, I'm actually going to bring up those next key levels of support. Let's see. But yeah, this is, shout out to French Toaster. Shout out to French Toaster said, besides yesterday, I took off. By the way, guys, real quick, I may have not been live yesterday, but I was working, baby. I was working. I just shot the most in-depth tutorial, I think, on TradingView that I've ever filmed in my life. It's about 39 minutes, but it's packed with a ton of sauce, a ton of shortcuts, a ton of, I take all of my, thousands and thousands of hours on TradingView, and I cram it all into this tutorial to hopefully save time for you guys, show you how my workflows and how I organize my charts. It's going to be a saucy one. We may not drop it this week, actually, because it is a long video. We're actually going to drop some graphics on it. We're going to have the editors spruce it up a bit. But it is going to be the first installment on the free beginner series, which is going to be like a mini free trading course for the Mafia, just organizing all the information from A to Z, from knowing nothing about the charts to setting up TradingView, understanding candlesticks, all the way through your indicators, Fibonacci's, finding entry triggers, as well as stop losses, risk management, all that stuff. It's going to be like a little beginner course for free for the, it's probably going to be like 7 to 10 videos, just kind of bringing everybody up to speed on how to actually look at the charts and do TA if you're just getting started. So keep an eye out for that. But, as we look here, guys, this green dot on the daily could be our one hope to at least, I'm not going to promise this is going to give us a big pump to the upside, but this could be our one hope to get a little bit of a push to the upside here. So let's go over some of these key levels. I'm actually going to, number one, right, most important level to get back above, in my opinion, is going to be that $60,400 level where we have this major volume profile, right? Like the volume profile we've been trading in forever. We got to get back above this level in order to see, even if we're just going to come up, let me actually hide this fib real quick. Even if we are going to come up here and just get like a retracement into another local golden pocket 786, we still have to get above that value area low, right? So that's kind of number one. Get above 60,400. That is going to open the door to potentially come up to these levels here between about, 61, let's call it 62K and 63.3. But again, even if we got that pump, right, I would have to be looking at the charts as a potential lackluster pump to the upside to continue the move back to the downside. And I'm going to kind of bring you guys from the bearish 3-day to the hopium daily all the way down to the potentially bearish lower time frames. But shout out to Satoshi Glagamoto said, I hope you're not fibbing, Frankie. Shout out to Satoshi. Oh, you're funny, bro. Let's see. Just want to dump for the long-term flip. Yeah. We'll if we do get the dump, it will give the longer time frames a little bit longer to kind of reset. Because remember, guys, this daily, right? Like if this money flow continues up, we could potentially anticipate the trend to continue up in terms of the daily, right? In the context of the daily time frame. But on a 3-day, it would very likely just be a lackluster lower high to continue down, right? This is not what you want to see for a massive pump, right? Like you just go back, right? This is not my opinion, right? Money flow crossover into the green, massive move to the upside. Money flow crossover into the green, massive move to the upside. Money flow crossover into the red, not massive, but a pretty big move down. Money flow crossover into the red right here, massive move down, right? So, just to put into context, I'll just mark out all these money flow crossovers, right? Money flow crossover into the red, money flow crossover into the green, into the red, into the green, into the red, right? So, crossover into the red, big move down. Crossover into the green, big move up. Red, somewhat of a move down, right? But where we were in the cycle here was in a pretty bullish scenario, right? So money flow crossover into the green, massive move up. We are now getting a money flow crossover into the red. Now, just because it played out all perfectly all these times does not mean that you're guaranteed to see that happen, but I just want to point this out. Like, I'm not just making this up, right? Like, this is something we've been looking for, and it's not typically a very bullish sign. So take a look at the daily, right? If we get that green dot, come on over to the 90-minute. This is like kind of our last hope for like some kind of a push back up here. Now, we do have local levels that I'm going to be taking a look at in just a minute, but that daily green dot is probably going to be the only chance that we have to get some kind of a continuation up where we can then approach that $60,400 level. And then if we can potentially hold above that, that's going to be key resistance until proven otherwise. If we get above that $60,400 level, that's where we can look for a little bit of a continuation. But again, like even if we come up here to, the $62,000 to $63,000 level, we have a lot of resistance, right? You could be looking for that golden pocket retracement when pulled from the absolute high all the way down to the low between 61, 62K, 786 sitting at 63.3, right? Like this whole zone is going to be pretty key support, pretty key resistance, right? So even if we make it all the way up there, like this zone is going to be pretty strong, right? And we also have other confluence there as well. If I come up to a higher time frame and we pull an anchored VWAP, all the way from this high over here, you can see this whole zone is going to be very, very, very resistive, right? Resistant, I should say, between about 62 and 63.3, right? Like very important resistance, and you got a lot of work to do, right? Because even if you get above that level, you then have the POC up here with a bunch of other confluence, you have this tapped weekly naked point of control, which I wouldn't really pay that much attention to at this point. It's already actually take that off the chart. But you do have like all this resistance up here. You got to get back through this zone, and then you have the POC, the range at 67,000, and then you got to get above that in order to attack the 70s. So it like as of right now, it like in my opinion, right now that we're back below this value area, I would definitely be very, very cautious for a move down. Even if we get a little pump back up, right? Like, it's very hard for me to say. Like, the high time frames are bearish, but that doesn't mean that we're just going to dump down today. If that green dot prints on the daily, maybe we get a rise to the upside, but I would definitely be very cautiously optimistic as that money flow in the higher time frames. Like, not that you can't capitalize on a long position down here, right? Like, if you do get a move up to that golden pocket, could potentially get, a 7.8% move. That's plenty, especially if you're trading on leverage, to make a bit of money, right? But again, like you have to understand the longer term context, right? So in my opinion, like we have a lot of work to do to get up a bit higher here. And that green dot, if we do see a bigger move up, that green dot is what I'm going to be looking at to start the move. 90-minute money flow, crossing into the green at the same time could be another good confluence to look at if you want that bigger move up as well. So you get that daily green dot with that 90-minute money flow crossover. But again, I am being a little bit more, I would say, I was talking to the premium Discord earlier today saying, you want to be a little bit more greedy with the shorts right now and cautious with the longs because those higher time frames don't look good, right? Now, coming on over to the daily time frame here, guys, talking about the local levels, right? That's kind of the higher time frame stuff. And I'm going to go ahead and hide all those levels and bring up some of these more local volume profiles, right? So very simply put, right, we have our volume profile here pulled from, August 8th, right, about. So you have this local volume profile, big deviation, right? We failed to hold the higher prices, got back down into that value area, back down to the POC, back down to the low. And you can see these levels have been somewhat respected. Still a very, very choppy market. And to be quite honest with you, quite boring. Other than these little spikes to the upside and downside, like this is absolute chop. If you are new to trading, I highly recommend that you be very careful out there. This is not the best environment to be trading in my opinion. Not that you can't trade, not that you can't catch ups and downs, little scalp positions. Not saying you can't trade it. I'm just saying be very careful, right? It's very choppy out there. So just be careful. But what I want to point out to you guys right now on the lower time frames, right? We just covered that higher time frame context. And I really want to try to hone in and try to make it simple for the Mafia to understand the difference in context, right? 3-day is bearish, but that doesn't mean insta down, right? It means eventual down, right? The trend will likely continue down, but we could see a pump to the upside in the short term. But here's another thing that is not really looking that great. 30-minute money flow continuously trending to the downside here. Now, we did wind up printing a red dot here on the 8-hour. So this honestly, like, kind of, could we bounce here at the lows and potentially continuously, respect this local volume profile? Potentially. If you guys are interested in, getting these levels on your chart, I'll just mark out this volume profile for you really quick. Value area high sitting here at about 60,631. POC at 59,175, and then your value area low sitting at 57,983. That's the local range, right? And again, not necessarily a place to get overly bearish, right? We have deviated below the low. So if we are able to reclaim this local value area low, we could go to the POC and the high. But again, I don't know how high probability that is for two reasons, right? Number one, we have a lot of liquidity sitting down below here in the right around here, 57,000. We'll take a look at the heat maps in just a second. But another thing here is that 8-hour red dot, which we have about an hour and 46 minutes left to confirm. If we see that 30-minute money flow continue out here and cross over into the red while that 8-hour red dot is printing, we could potentially see that money flow crossover on the 30-minute be the thing that brings us to lower prices or gives us that bigger move down. And I'll be honest, like kind of just the way, let's pull up the heat map, right? Because the way this 30-minute looks, I mean, you're about to print a red dot. Money flow is coming out. 8-hour red dot printing. I'm not FOMO long in here. I'll tell you that, right? Even though we're deviating below that volume profile, could be reclaiming here for a move up. There's just not enough confluence here for me to call for like a significantly confident move to the upside, right? It's like the lower time frames and the way higher time frames, the 3-day, and then like these lower time frames are both bearish. The daily green dot is really what we need to print in order to get a local move to the upside. But I would really like to see if this money flow on the 30-minute crosses into the red. Typically, when you have that 8-hour red dot, that 30-minute money flow crossover gives you the bigger move, right? We can come back here. Very similar situation that we saw happen right here, right? 30-minute money flow crossover into the red. At the time, we did have an 8-hour red dot. We were looking at this. 8-hour red dot was printing. 30-minute money flow crossover into the red. We got the next little drop to the downside, right? So, and like even here, right, like an even better example is this money flow crossover here, right? Money flow crosses over into the red like this, and then we get the bigger drop to the downside. So, yeah, just being very cautious here. I'm actually not holding any trades right now. Obviously, wasn't trading yesterday as it was a holiday, yeah, I don't hold any trades right now. But yeah, and that should say something, right? I just don't see really any confident setups unless you're like micro scalping the 5-minute or something like that. Not really any. I would rather see another drop to the downside here for two reasons, right? This 30-minute potentially looks like we could. And I'm going to talk about like the medium time frame support levels too in case we do get a bigger move down. So yeah, like we are holding that 786. So the hope here, if we do get like a fake out on this money flow and a bigger move up, you got the 786 retracement, right? You're back above that value area low. That would call for a move up. But again, the confluence is not there for me. I'm sitting on my hands. If it goes up, I'm happy to watch it go up without me because I only like to take high probability trades, right? In my opinion, that's not high probability. But if we do get another drop to the downside, not only do you have the red dot printing on the 30-minute with the money flow crossing over into the red with the 8-hour red dot, but also pull up the XO charts here. We also have, let me go ahead and pull up the not Pepe, the BTC USD, and we'll pull up the 7-day chart, pull up the liquidity heat map, and take a look at what we got going on here, right? Locally, we do have somewhat of a significant amount of liquidity here, at least locally, sitting below this wick at about $57,114, right? So what does this mean? Price action typically does gravitate towards that liquidity if it's close enough, right? So this will act as a magnet. Liquidity acts as a magnet for price. So, it doesn't guarantee we come down there, but locally, it wouldn't make, it wouldn't be like the most illogical thing to come down and sweep that liquidity down between about, 57.1, 57.1 all the way down to about 56.880, right? So that is going to be right down here below these wicks. And yeah, like price may want to, and here's the thing, right? If we do get a sweep of those lows, we could potentially put in a bullish divergence here on the 30-minute, right? Now, this wouldn't be like a mega bullish sign, but that when you see Market Cipher B setting up like that, sometimes we can front run Market Cipher B and not only anticipate, like if we're going to get the bullish divergence here, right? We're going to need another drop to the downside, and money flow and this red dot, is it a blood diamond? It is. There it is in all of its glory. Blood diamond now printing on the 30-minute because you got that nice little trigger wave here. Is that going to be the thing that drops us down, puts in a lower low, gives us that bullish divergence on the 30-minute? And to be honest, like at that point, if we do get the drop down and that bullish divergence here, I don't even know if that's going to be a confident trade because you're going to kind of have to take that with money flow like crossing into the red, which, so I would kind of just be using that bullish divergence formation as front-running the move to the downside. So let's see. We'll see if we get that blood diamond to play out. But, yeah, we don't know. We'll have to see. But, again, 30-minute, 8-hour, not looking good. Higher time frames, not looking good. We're really at the mercy of this green dot on the daily to get another move up. But even then, higher time frames not looking good. So with that being said, guys, if we do get the bigger move down, let's say like this local move, let's say this local 30-minute like comes down, right? Let's say like we don't get a big bounce from there and we just wind up getting the bigger break, right? What are the levels we need to be watching? Number one, we're going to pull our fib from the low at 49K all the way to the high. We have confluence in this very key area, sitting at about $55,000. This is the next key level of support to the downside, in my own personal opinion. We have a fresh daily horizontal. We also have the not macro, but we have the full golden pocket from the low to the high. So if we continue down, this is going to be the next logical place to look for some support. $55,069 to $53,936. If we lose that level, it's getting a little dicey. It's getting a little dicey, guys. It's getting a little dicey if we lose that. I'll be honest with you. So if we come down there, right, and we lose that golden pocket, 786 sitting at 52,350. If we lose that 786, in my opinion, it is very likely to come see that naked point of control sitting at 47.5. In which case, in hindsight, we will come back and be like, well. And again, I'm not guaranteeing this, right? Maybe it doesn't play out. Maybe we get faked out. TA is only going to hit a percentage of the time, not 100% of the time, but just like back here, and I know it sounds like I'm beating a dead horse here, guys, but I say this so you can learn and then repeat, right? Every move to the downside, because of the higher time frame money flow, we knew these were going to be lackluster pump to the upside, lower high, breaker structure to the downside. Lackluster pump to the upside, lower high, breaker structure to the downside. In which case, if we come to 47.5, I am going to clip the live streams from way back in the day looking at this exact scenario happening based off the analysis, not because I'm a wizard. Some people say I'm a wizard. Some people say I have a crystal ball. I definitely don't have a crystal ball. Did that break? Oh, God, there's mystical magic flying all around the studio now. I just broke the crystal. I mean, anyway, some people say I have a crystal ball, but it's really not that, guys. It's really just the TA that I teach here for free every single weekday, except for Labor Day yesterday at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right? But, you know, maybe it won't happen, right? We just don't know, right? There's no 100% chances, but it will make a lot of sense if we do wind up coming down there. The one thing, you know, if we could just come down, sweep that liquidity, and then just get a fake out to the upside, that would be kind of the thing we were hoping for, but it's not looking good as of right now. So absolute line in the sand. To be honest, the $54,500 level, like, I really don't want to lose that daily. If we lose that daily, in my opinion, it's not really looking good, but you could argue that the 52,352,786 could save you. So, you know, from a Fibonacci standpoint, if you don't get the bounce off the golden pocket, you would be looking for the bounce off the 786. And then if you lose that, that is the line in the sand to call for 47K, right? 47.5. If we get the bigger move down, right, and we get some, you know, maybe we go into like a little fake out bear market, the next major zones of support, again, shown here 50 times on the live stream, because to be honest, in the sideways price action, it's the only thing that we could have looked at. You know, again, very simply put, let me pull it up here, right? $40,000, not, let me see here, bada boom, bada bing, hide that. In the 40,000s, right? We have the naked value area sitting between 44.1, right, or 44,283 and $41,000. Where if we pull up our liquidation heat maps and we come up to a bit of a higher time frame, you guys can see there is a bit of confluence on these on the heat maps. Actually, let me come up to an even higher time frame. Let's go to the 1 year. Because, like, dang, we've been, like, just, I can't believe we've been going sideways for this long. So, you know, we do have more liquidity above here. But if we come on down to the 40s, you know, I'm not calling for 35K. Actually, can I come to the, will we be able to see this on the 6 month? We might have to go a little more granular. Yeah, we can't see it on, we can't see it on this. Oh, yeah. No, we can't see it on the 6 month. But, yeah, like, just keep that in mind, right? If we do wind up coming back down, that naked value area from back here in the 40s is the stronger level, in my opinion, right? Now, not only do we have the naked volume profile, but we also have this somewhat significant golden pocket between 41.3 or 41.250 and 42.863. So there's like a lot of confluence here. And like, is this a bear market, right? People say, like, Frankie, is the bear market here? Or is the bull market over? And I know I've shown this 100 times on the stream, but I just want to reiterate this, guys. to be quite honest with you, like this would not be like, oh my God, bear market, it's all over, right? Like if we did wind up coming down for this golden pocket retest like that, and like even if we fake out, if we get some kind of black swan or something, and we get like a fake out down here, like this would not be like the most this would not be that crazy, right? Like we would still potentially be able to maintain market structure on the higher time frames. Like this is a massive uptrend, right? Like it's so funny. Like it's so funny, right? Like, cause obviously, a lot of retail came back into crypto after the big pump, right? Like, this is typically what happens, right? Retail comes in late. A lot of people were probably buying up this top. And, like, and it's not a bad thing, right? Like, a lot of people do this in their first cycle. I messed up my first cycle as well. I managed to not get completely wrecked, but, like, I definitely was not buying at the right time, right? I had no idea about, like, any of, like, the fundamental aspects of crypto. I knew how to read charts, but, like, I wasn't a big Bitcoin crypto guy. I just entered, right? So, thing rips like you see Bitcoin rip, and you're like, oh, my God, this thing's never going to go down. I'm going to get rich, right? But, people asking, like, is this a bear market? Just zoom out. When in doubt, when you are panicking, zoom out. We are in a massive uptrend, right? And even if we came down to this golden pocket, we could still potentially maintain that uptrend and continue off into higher prices. So just keep that in mind, right? Don't panic. When in doubt, zoom out. So there you go. That's what I'm looking at on Bitcoin, guys. For the most part, those are the key levels, the local levels, the long time frame levels, the bearish signals, everything you need to know. Make sure you have these levels on your chart. So if you get that drop to the downside, you could simply sit back and be like, Frankie Candles prepared me for this. And again, it doesn't guarantee that it's going to happen, but you could just simply sit back and say, hey, Frankie Candles had me prepared for this. I'm not worried about this dump. I know where we're going. I have an idea of where we could bounce, and I know why we're dumping, right? You're not going to be like, oh, my God, I thought we were going to 100K. Why are we dumping? You're going to be like, hey, this isn't that big of a shocker. Money flow's coming into the red on the 3-day. I'm not surprised that little bounce off the daily green dot didn't last that long, and we're now getting a big dump. And then hopefully, if we don't see that, right, the if this then that statement is if we don't get the big dump in hindsight, we don't wind up getting it, we are simply going to be looking for the, bear with me while I try to find this, we are going to be looking for price to get above, not this main range, get above that $60,400 value area low, right? So if we don't get this, right, we are going to be looking for maybe like a local pullback and then a flip of that $60,400 mark, right? So key level to the upside, 60,400. Absolute key level of support to the downside, going to be 52,353. And there you go. That's what you need to be prepared, guys. And hopefully, whatever move we get doesn't hit you by surprise. And hopefully it shouldn't. Hopefully we got you prepared enough for whatever happens next. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Dave Digital said, if you ever hear Frankie Candles say, bear with me, that's the sign, go short. Shout out to Dave Digital. I just come on here and I'm just like, I have like a bear on my t-shirt, low key. It's just like a low key signal. Golden, where's Golden? Shout out to Golden. Golden, pump this thing for the love of God. Please, for the love of God. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay, so let's go ahead and continue on, guys. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Jeremy. Said all these YouTubers getting bearish is making me bullish. That's what they said at 69.4. That's what they said at 69.4. I literally got roasted. But shout out to Jeremy. If you stick around, bro, we could teach you how to read these charts. And instead of getting bullish at the highs, you could see the incoming dump and then hold on for the breaker structure to the downside. No guaranteed breaks to the downside. But everybody roasted me. This guy's an idiot. We're pumping to 100K. Up only. Crypto. We're going to $1 million. And we're just like, oh, my God, bear divs at key resistance, lower high, downtrend, money flow, probably coming down. And then we come down and everyone's like, oh, my God, this crazy guy was right on YouTube. Too funny. Jeremy has gone. Dang it, Jeremy. Come back, Jeremy. I want to save you, brother. I want to save you. But you're never going to call me, I am not just perma-bear, right? I'm just pointing out the charts. The 3-day is binarily bearish, right? The 3-day is bearish. I'm not just calling for lower prices. But shout out to Jeremy. We wish you the best of luck. All right, let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Let's see. Ollie B said, don't need to, Frankie. He is the king of crypto and top trader 2024, apparently. Shout out to Ollie B. Tony D said, it can only go up. Oh, God. I mean, I hope it goes up. But yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and check it out. There is no second best. Shout out to Smoke. I die if Jeremy turns out to be golden. Shout out to, oh my God. If Jeremy is golden, then we should be bullish. Then we should just listen to Jeremy. But yeah, it's funny. It's very hard. Jeremy was bearish on your job, Frankie. Shout out to Crypto Maxi. But yeah, it's very hard. It's like people like that are like, right? Like I try to explain everything probably to a fault, right? Because I try to make everybody understand. But like people that are like, oh my God, YouTubers are wrong, like are usually right. That green dot on the daily, if we pump 3%, those people are going to be like, oh, what happened? I thought we were bearish. Why are we pumping? And it's like, no, that's not how the charts work. That's not how the charts work, right? It's the same thing with all these big moves as well, right? Like on the dump to, we don't get bullish at the we don't get bearish at the lows, right? We get bearish at the highs, right? And that's what throws off people who don't typically look at the charts or don't understand how the market moves. This is what throws them off. They're like, we already pulled back. How could you be bearish? And it's like, got to understand the context, right? So if we get a pump to like 3%, that's like, oh my God, what happened? I thought the 3-day was bearish, and it's like, yes, it does not it doesn't invalidate the bearish 3-day, right? If that daily green dot gives us an ebb, and let me explain this for anybody new in the chat. Let me clear this up. If you're using Market Cipher, the red and green dots can indicate the ebbs and flows in the market, but the overall money flow, especially on the higher time frames, right? That's what they say like down here, right? Like when we're saying, hey, we could come up for a lower high and break structure to the downside once again. People are like, this guy's an idiot. Why is he bearish, right? But we're not. We're anticipating the bullish move, but we just know that this isn't going to go to 100K, or we know it's probable that this likely isn't going to go to 100K, and we just get locally bullish, right? Which I kind of am here on the daily. If we can get that green dot with money flow coming up, that would be locally bearish, but that does not invalidate the idea that the higher time frames are likely to come up and then just dump us back down, right? If we get the push up and the TA changes and we reassess the situation and things are different, then you can make a different decision. But as it stands right now, even if that daily gives us a push up, normal, new people will be like, oh my God, I thought the 3-day was bearish. I just watched this YouTuber, thought we were going down, now we're going up. And it's like, no, you're getting caught in the game of ping pong. You have to understand the context. And the way you could do that is with Market Cipher, right? Green dot on the daily could give you an ebb to the upside, but the money flow in the higher time frames would make it a lackluster pump up to put in a lower high and continue down, just like here. Lackluster pump, lower high, and another move down. Just like that. And listen to the information. Listen to the information and the data and the technical analysis. Although not right all the time, the analysis has no emotion, right? And that's gonna help you over time. Not like feeling bullish when you get little pumps to the upside. So there you go. All right, let's see. Shout out to Trader NZ said, how come I can't join the Discord, the kitchen from my phone-only PC? Shout out to Trader NZ. At Tony D will be able to help you with that, hopefully. Shout out to Tony Rowe. I said, I prepared Frankie to sell everything. Shout out to Tony Roaz. Let's see. How low can we go to still remain in the bull flag structure? Kind of hard to say. I don't trade patterns typically, as I kind of always talk about. But to break, a little bit hard to say. Let me pull up the bull flag really, really quick. Pull off the MPOCs. Pull off the volume profile. And let's pull up that bull flag, right? So if we go to 47.5, very likely that we're out of that bull flag, right? Like that would be kind of another thing to look at, right? Like if we do wind up coming back down here and we lose that 47, we get to that 47.5. Yeah, I don't know. You could fake out again, right? Like there's not like you could say like if you were looking at this bull flag back here, right? You would probably be saying like if we break this, like you're out of the bull flag, but then you wick back in, which is bullish. So it's kind of hard to say, to be honest, until the price action develops. But like if we start closing like higher time frame candles like below here, that would be pretty bearish in my opinion. But again, like money flow, right? Like that's kind of the key here, right? Like, and you can go back so far to test this stuff, right? Like pull up money flow here on the 3-day, right? Like even back here, this actually kind of faked you out because we came up for that like dead cat bounce. So it didn't actually work here too well. And it's not impossible to get the fake outs either, right? Especially with where we are in the cycle, which is why I'm not just saying like down only, right? Like if we can fake out to the upside and get a fake out on the money flow, that would be good, but we can't predict that, right? Like as the TA stands, this is bearish. We don't know the fake out's going to happen until we get the fake out, right? Very similar to back here on the daily, right? If you guys are watching the channel back here, when we had the what was it? Was it the 2-day? Oh no, it was the daily money flow back here, right? When I took my long from 40K, which by the way I am still holding, when we came down here, we knew that this money flow crossover would have a high likelihood of faking out with where we were in the cycle, but we didn't know if that was going to be the case, right? All we can do is say like, hey, with where we stand in the cycle and where we stand like with how things typically go, probably a high likelihood of a fake out here, but there's no way to guarantee that until after it happens. And we're kind of in the same situation, right? We're not necessarily in the part of the cycle unless we get a black swan event. We're not necessarily in the part of the cycle where you see a big money flow crossover into the red in like a massive bear market, right? Like this is not typically what happens. And to be honest, like the 4-year cycle doesn't have to repeat either, right? It really depends on like what they do in September or I guess this month. Yeah, like this, in my opinion, right, like the fact of where we are in the cycle with the rate cuts ahead, unless we see something like crazy happen, like out of the normal happen, in my opinion, right, like it could be a high likelihood of getting a fake out into the green here. But again, it's hard to call. But so that's why binarily just doing the TA, we have to say the 3-day looks bearish until proven otherwise. So there you go. But anyway, let's continue on here. Shout out to Jenny Swanson says, I'm a billionaire in Colombian pesos. Shout out to Jenny. All right, let's see. Shout out to Tony, said you could join from your phone through the Discord app, but the fees are way higher for your wallet's sake. Join from a PC and then log in on your phone to access. Shout out to Tony D, saving the Mafia some money on that premium sauce in the kitchen. Let's go. But let's go ahead and continue on here, guys. I'm going to take a quick look at Ethereum and see what we got going on here. Let's check it out. Okay, so on ETH, let me actually pull. I'm going to pull up the. I'm going to pull up this chart on ETH. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay. Let's see. Bada boom, bada bing. Okay, so yeah. Same thing on Ethereum, right? Like 3-day money flow's been in the red. So I'll be honest, right? Like Ethereum, like in a weird way, I actually don't hate. I actually don't hate like what we're seeing here on Ethereum as much as I hate what we see on Bitcoin, right? Like look at the 3-day money flow on Ethereum. It happened all the way up here, right? And then this is where it's like, oh my God, money flow crossover into the red. This is bearish, right? And then you have a bounce, right? And like shout out to Jeremy. People are like, oh my God, I'm bullish. And then they're like, oh my God, I was right. But the analysis just takes time to play out, and you get the bigger dump to the downside, right? Money flow was able to call this downtrend. And shout out to Jeremy. I don't know. You're probably still watching. Let's check. Jeremy is still here, so shout out to you, bro. And I'm not throwing shade, bro. I want to be clear. Like, I'm throwing, like, I don't mean, I'm not throwing hate, right? My goal with this YouTube channel is to help as many people as possible. And this is just, you know, I've seen this time and time again through having this YouTube channel, through looking at the charts for as long as I have been. Like, if I can get this point across, I can help you understand like why we look for this stuff to happen and why it actually happens. It's not about predicting or feeling bullish or anything like that. The more you can understand these charts, the better you can anticipate these moves. So zero hate to you, bro. I was in a position where I thought what you thought. And the other thing is like the biggest thing to understand is we could easily see that money flow fake out. Like there's no one on earth that is going to be able to just predict like, oh my God, we're bullish, right? There's never going to be a situation where the TA plays out 100% of the time, ever. But to have the statistical probabilities on your side, you would want to listen to the analysis, right? Not even just my analysis. I'm just saying analysis, TA in general. So 3-day money flow crossover into the red. Sure, you get the bounce to the downside, right? And sure, we can see a bounce to the upside, like even on Bitcoin, right? As I was just looking at. The bounce on Bitcoin could potentially happen because if you look at the higher time frames here, sure, we are technically, like this is not necessarily where we want to get bearish, right? This is why we were bearish on this key level right here. You want to get bearish on the pumps, bullish on the dumps, right? So this is not where I would get FOMO bearish because we could get a little bounce up, but very similar to Ethereum, could see something like this happen where you get a little lackluster bump to the upside and then you just wind up putting the lower high in and continuing down based off the money flow, right? And this just happens more often than it doesn't. Not 100% of the time. And then on Bitcoin, by the way, I don't think I showed this, pull your local fib here from the high to the low. I didn't mean to draw that arrow perfectly, but where are you expecting that lower high to come in at? If you do get the local bounce to the upside, instead of getting FOMO bullish, you would look at this as an opportunity to potentially take a short if that money flow in the 3 days still coming out for the continuation down. Very similar to what we're seeing on Ethereum, to be quite honest with you. And this money flow crossover into the red is a little bit more in the red, right? We're not just getting the crossover. So we may see something like this on, like, it's actually kind of weird. I didn't even make that connection, to be honest with you, until just now. Like, on the 3 day, it's like almost exactly what we saw on ETH, right? Like, you get the big drop, right? And then, like, maybe we get some kind of lackluster bounce to the a bounce to the upside if we get that daily green dot on Bitcoin, which, again, is very close to printing. Could give us a bounce to the upside, but it may just wind up being this. And based off the 3 day, you would have to anticipate it to be a lackluster bounce up. You heard it here first. I know someone's going to be like, to put in a lower high and then continue to the downside. I always say it in the same cadence to try to help it, like, get ingrained into your brain, right? Lackluster bounce to the upside to put in a potential lower high and a move to the downside. Where are those levels likely to get, where are those rejections likely to happen? Pull your Fibonacci retracements, and there you go. You rejected that golden pocket from the, not the actual tippy top here, but from a local high right here, right? Or probably this local lower high is probably what I would be looking at. So that's going to be the highest likelihood area to get a bounce. And on Bitcoin, that zone is simply between, we did look at these levels, 62 and 63.3. That was like one of the main levels that I gave. So there you go. So that's actually interesting. I wasn't even paying attention to that. And this could potentially be a... shout out to Tony Roa. Says not 100% of the time, just every time. It does kind of go against. It does just kind of go against. It's like someone said this the other day in the premium Discord. I'm like, guys, like, I'm not right. I'm not gonna be right all the time. And they were like, Frankie Candle says he's never right all the time, and then Frankie Candles also is right all the time. I'm not right all the time. At all, right? Like, I've been wrong before. I will be wrong again. Maybe this will be where I'm wrong. Maybe Jeremy will be right here. Potentially, right? It's maybe we just rip up to 100K here. I don't know. It could be possible, right? I'm probably due to be wrong, to be honest. Like, the dumps here, I was going against the grain. Like, even people in the Discord were like, wow, Frankie's the only YouTuber and trader that is calling for these lower lows. And so I was like going against the grain there, and I was right all those times. So maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm due to be pretty wrong here. But here's the thing. If I am wrong, we rip up to 100K, guys, the first thing I will do is come up here and be like, I was wrong. I'll even make the thumbnail, I was wrong. But anyway, taking a look at Ethereum here. Shout out to Tony Roas. I love you, Frankie. Thanks for the knowledge. Shout out to Tony Roas. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Tony. Let's see. Shout out to Chauncey, said Crypto Face calling for it too. Shout out to you, bro. That makes me feel a little better. I felt a little less confident, like, to be honest. I didn't let it leak into my analysis, right? I always only bring you information. I never bring my emotion, even if I'm like, I don't know, like, I'll give my opinions, but I'm always going to bring up the analysis, right? Like, I'm only going to lean on the information. But I'm not going to lie, like, on this drop down, I was, when people were like, wow, no one else is calling for this or no one else is looking for this, it kind of made me like, hey, if I'm right, that's awesome, because I'll be like one of the only people that were right. But it also kind of made me like, dang, am I not seeing something that other people are seeing? Like, am I missing something? And it just goes to prove, stick to your analysis, right? And I could have been wrong here too, right? There was a chance that we would have just ripped up. Who knows? The market does weird stuff. But don't pay attention too much to other people, right? Like, don't, even YouTubers, even people on Twitter, people on TikTok, whoever you watch, don't let them, like, if you know what you're doing and you're looking at sound technical analysis and you know that you're doing real TA the right way, don't let, especially, you have to understand, like, on YouTube, like, you have to be sensational to a degree to get views, right? So, like, YouTubers literally have an incentive to just be like overly emotionally bullish. Hopefully not analysts that you're looking at, but like regular, like, just crypto YouTubers that just like read the news and stuff and like keep up with the stories. Like, that kind of stuff is like, Bitcoin's about to explode. And if it's like not based off any legitimate information or just like a bullish news event or something, it could just be like very emotionally driven, right? Like, even us, like, we have to be sensational with our thumbnails as well. Otherwise, no one clicks on the video. But I always back it up with information, right? When I say 55K next, I'm talking about a golden pocket, right? Like, I have an actual reason I'm looking at that level, not because 55K seems like a good place to dump to, if that makes sense. So just keep that in mind. Don't let everybody get in your head. Stick to your TA. You'd rather be wrong because you were wrong, not You don't want to do analysis and then go against it for what someone else says, and then you wound up being right in the first place, right? So just be wrong because you're wrong, not because you changed your sentiment based off what someone else said. And I'm not gonna lie, I got a little shook here. I'm like, oh God, I hope I'm not like missing something. And turns out I stuck to the analysis. It wound up working out. But anyway, coming back to ETH here, guys. Yeah, we'll see if that 3-day winds up. 3-day doesn't look as bad. We do have the 3-day yellow X confirmed. Typically, these are pretty bearish, right? They indicate manipulation to the downside. I will say, though, CryptoFace looking for the similar things is that's like a little reassuring. If you guys don't know CryptoFace, I'm sure a lot of you guys probably came from CryptoFace. He's the one that created Market Cipher. So it makes me feel good that he's looking for lower as well, based off that 3-day, I assume. Actually, someone told me that in the premium Discord that he's bearish on the 3-day as well. And I was like, okay. I was like, at least I'm not alone. So, yeah, shout out to CryptoFace. But yeah, like taking a look here, I mean, yellow X confirmed on the 3-day. These are sometimes hit or miss, right? Oftentimes, like, they're pretty rare signals, right? You get one here, you get a little fake out pump, and then a big dump to the downside. Second yellow X brings you down again. Third yellow X brings you down again. These are typically not what you want to see, especially on a high time frame. But they're not all bearish, right? Like you could see this one was kind of like a bottom signal, honestly. So they're not 100%, but could be, yellow X, drop to the downside. Money flow actually looks very similar here as well. A shout out to Tony D. Tony, can we reach out to the graphics and our graphics people and see if we can get a smaller box for me? I'm finding this box is way too big. I feel like it blocks too much of the chart. But yeah, like, yellow X, not the most bullish sign, I'll tell you that. Money flow in the red, but we are getting a 3-day green dot, right? So could we see a potential push up? Yes, but you have to remember with money flow in the red, even if you check the 4-day money flow just crossed over into the red, so you could easily pump up in the short term. However, you would have to look at this based off Market Cipher B as a lackluster bounce to the upside to continue your trend to the downside. I don't want to say it. Market Cipher is saying it. Hopefully, we just get the fake out, right? You have a 4-day green dot as well. So this would probably, honestly, call more for some kind of push up, right? Maybe we have like a bullish next couple days, right? And then you just wind up getting the rejection back down to lower prices. So yeah, I would say this probably calls for a move up and then a move down. But if you're not, looking at the low time frames, you're not really going to care about that little move up. But yeah, other than that, daily green dot printing or about to print. Yeah, so I wouldn't be surprised if you get some like local or like low time short-term relief, right? And then you just get another move back down. And again, like if you do get that short-term relief, you can reassess the situation as after you get there, right? You get up to the levels of resistance, reassess the situation. What is money flow doing? And then you can kind of reassess everything. So. Yeah, green dot looking very similar to Bitcoin. If we do get a push up, if you can get above 25, locally, if you could get above 25.67, that would be your doorway up to about 2700. But other than that, you could probably just look at your local profiles here. So locally, I would look at that. But for the most part, if you're not scalping the low time frames, it's really $2,500 is your key level, right? It is this larger volume profile. If you can get back above and hold $2,500, which is your macro value area low, that's what opens up the door not only to come to your local volume profile right here, right? Get above 2,500, get above that 25.67 level. That's the one I just showed you on this chart, right here. But get above 2,500. That will eventually open up the door to potentially get you a move back up to your value area high, getting closer to 3,100 to 3,200 bucks. But you do want to also understand that you do have these local levels right here, right? So if you were going to just mark up your Ethereum chart, this is probably the context I would look at it in. Bada boom, bada bing. These resistance levels on the way up, right? I could even mark this out maybe in blue because they're two different profiles. Right? So your larger profile highlighted in white here, get above the $2,500 mark. That technically opens up the doorway to get up to 3,100 to 3,200, but you have to understand you have this local profile as key resistance. And then you can use this as context, right? Get above this level, you can go to the POC, value area high, and then if you break out, right? And then in the long run, you're just looking at that as the larger volume profile, right? Volume profileception. Shout out to the Mafia. These things are literally going to put me out of a job. But there you go. All right, let's go ahead and continue on. Bada boom, bada bing. Shout out to Jenny Swanson said, really, I'd be surprised if they didn't outsource it. Did not know they code. Shout out to Jenny Swanson. Not 100% sure what that is in reference to. Yeah. Are you talking? You're talking about Market Cipher P? Yeah, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure how they went about that. Let's see. Yo, shout out to Ollie B. Said I'm waiting for Frankie to talk about touching the naked area again. Shout out to Ollie B. This is our G-rated show, Ollie. Come on, brother. Come on. Shout out to you, man. All right, let's see. The humbled Cardano charts, please. Yeah, we can take a look at Cardano. I'm going to freestyle the altcoins here, guys, tonight. And, yeah, we'll take a look at a few of them here. Let's take a look at Cardano. Yeah, to be quite honest, I'll actually look at the Cardano chart over here. Yeah, Cardano, turn off, let me get off Market Cipher A, bada boom, bada bing. Yeah, Cardano is, Cardano's getting spanked. I mean, to be quite honest with you guys, like, it's kind of just been going sideways recently, but, I mean, not Cardano, but, like, just kind of in the general grand scheme of things, like, even Bitcoin, just, like, sideways, other than this deviation, and then we got sideways here. It's just, ugh, God, man. I just want things to move again. But let's see. 2-day, yeah. 4-day, yeah. 4-day, 5-day, 6-day red dot. Weekly red dot. Yeah, higher time frame red dots. Not the best look ever. But your daily VWAP is coming up. So, again, like, you know, I don't typically get super bearish at these value area lows, right? Because not impossible to kind of get a retracement a little bit, and then maybe you get the bigger move down. But in the higher time frames, 2-day red dot, 3-day red dot, 4-day red dot, 5-day red dot. No, not 2-day red dot, not 3-day red dot. 4, 5, 6, and weekly red dots. Like, these are not what you want to see. Also, like, money flow also in the red. 5-day money flow just crossed over into the red. Not the best look. You know, could have a little bit more down to come here. Again, doesn't mean instant, right? Could get a little short-term relief. You get the daily green dot. But if you were to get that short-term daily relief and it were to start here, key levels of resistance I would be looking at would be, I would probably be looking at your value area low as a key level of resistance, right? As well as this POC Golden Pocket Fibonacci Golden Pocket 786 POC area, right? So, like, these would be the two major zones I would be looking at. If we did get a lackluster push to the upside to put a lower high in, I would probably be looking at these two levels as potentially key resistance. So there you go. First zone coming in between 34 and 35 cents, or 3410 and 3520, and then your next levels at 3694 and 3848. Those are the two major levels I'd be looking at. Other than that, let's see that 30-minute money flow. Probably looking, Cardano's been getting spanked lately. Yeah, not, yeah, very interesting. Let's see. Shout out to Flame. Said, bro, can we see, what is going on, bro? Welcome in. Says, can we see BTC all-time high because of ETFs, and we can say fundamental bull run will start after the big dump? Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, right? Like, even based off the 4-year cycle, even based off, like, the overall, like, macro business cycle, right, if we get the rate cuts in September, which obviously is expected, and we see the looser monetary policy, and we see the liquidity, we see the money printer go on, and we see things absolutely rip, it would be just in track with the 4-year cycle, right? So whether you look at it through the lens of the 4-year cycle, or you look at it through the lens of the, overall macroeconomic situation, we would probably be in a situation where, even on, especially on Bitcoin, if I pull up our, let me pull up the cycle chart really quickly here, right? Like, just to kind of give you guys an idea, especially if you're new to the channel and you have not seen this chart yet. This is simply just a chart where I've marked out and measured everything. It's so funny. I doubt they got it from me, but it is funny. I made this chart years ago, like I think 2 years ago, like almost when I first started my channel. And now I see like tons of YouTubers bring up like the exact same chart. It's not like brain surgery. You're just measuring everything. But I feel like I was one of the first people, or probably the first person to like really like talk about this cycle chart. But anyway, I'm sure it has nothing to do with me. I kind of hope it does. I'd be flattered. No, but anyway, let's see. So yeah. Basically, just looking at the halvings, I can even hide these other measurements. If you just look at the halvings here, guys, like where are we in the cycle, right? Like if we had a Bitcoin halving, right, and we, typically the bottoms, right? Let me see, right? The bottoms in every cycle, and actually, it's been a while since I've updated this. We can mark the bottom of this cycle now. Just goes to show how long I've had this chart for. Didn't even mark the 22 cycle bottom. But, listen, like, if we were going to see the Bitcoin halving come in and then just, like, a massive bear market happen, surely it's not impossible, especially if we see, like, a huge recession, right, and traditional finance absolutely dumps. It would probably be, if we see traditional finance dump, like Bitcoin's probably going to follow, right? Like, there's no... if there's a huge recession, it's very unlikely that everyone's going to flock to risk-on assets, right? And Bitcoin is still considered a risk-on asset. I know people refer to it as digital gold, but it is still a very risk-on asset, right? And that's not where people flock to when you have huge recessions, right? So, but like, where are we right now, right? Like, back in 2020, we had the Bitcoin having come in May of 2020, right? And, it wasn't until about 150 to 160 days after that we really saw the parabolic run start. If we bring this up to the current price action and we measure from the halving to 160, what are we? We're on the weekly. Actually, let me just grab my measure tool here. 161 days brings us to, can't see it, Monday, September 30th, right? Now, the question is, what is going to happen until then, right? Are we going to get a big drop down? Are we going to wiggle sideways? Market cipher B on the higher time frames would say move down, right? But what would be very unlikely, at least basing it off of historical price action, what would be unlikely is a massive bear market, right? Unless we get some kind of bearish black swan event. But what if we get a bullish black swan event, right? Then maybe we take off early, or maybe we take off right on time or slightly after. But just to show you like how like it's not very common, like after every cycle bottom, I guess we got a pretty big dump here, right? But it's not very often, right? It's not common to get a halving and then a massive bear market, right? So just keep that in mind. Like we have seen, right? So take this for what it's worth. We have seen, now this obviously was a completely different asset back then. But, last time that we saw a big run up, although we didn't see a new all-time high before the halving, we saw price rally into the halving. And when that happened last time and we put a rally in before the halving, it did wind up giving us a 40% dump, right? We peaked out and then we got the dump. But it's not very common that you get the halving and then a massive bear market, right? Like, especially when the bottom had just come in, right? Bottom, rally, little pullback, right? Like, that's more indicative of something like what we've already seen, right? Something like this pullback to 48K, 49K, or maybe even a pullback into the 40s. That's, 40%. And again, that was a totally different asset back then. 40% would bring us back down into the 40s, right? So, like, maybe we see that, we did see that happen. Where is it? Back here in 2016, right? So, you rally into the halving, you get a 40% dump. Right back here, we actually dumped into the halving and then dumped before the halving and then rallied into the halving and continued on. Right here, we rallied into the halving. Maybe we get a 40% dump. And again, in 2016, lower market cap, different asset, completely different situation. But I'm just pointing this out. Like, it's not very common that like we're just gonna like go down into another bear market, right? Like that would be very uncommon. But you never know, right? Like things different, you would have to be going with the "this time is different," right? Mentality, and typically those people wind up getting wrecked, right? Shout out to John Galt. Shout out to you, bro. Thank you for the super chat. Said, is it good to place orders just before the value area high, value area low, or at the value area high, value area low, and just after for quick wick moves. Shout out to John. You could argue, right? I don't generally, not that this is ever financial advice. This is not financial advice. I wouldn't recommend that. I don't personally do that, and I'll tell you why. I don't just put limit orders in, right? Because chances are, right, like if that doesn't wind up playing out, you're just going to be stuck in that bad situation, right? And if you don't have a stop loss set, you're just going to wind up being like riding price down, and you're going to be stuck in a bad trade, right? So, like down here, if you had, like, for example, right, like you could arguably do that. And if you look at the volume profiles, it will work out sometimes. But, like, if I were to put trades in like this, right, like say I just had an order here for a long at the value area low, right, and then shorts at the value area high, and I just put limit orders in, right, and I'm saying, hey, I'm going to short when we come to the high, look to go to the low, right, and then put in orders at the low and go to the high, it's not always going to play out. Sometimes you'll get an order to play out, but like if you're not sitting at your desk and you don't have a stop loss, like I like to enter aggressive orders, right? Unless it's like a macro position or a position, like an actual investment that I'm looking to like buy in on big dips and just stack my sats. That's different, but for trading like this, I don't do this because I look for specific confirmations, right? Because if I don't get the bearish confirmations as I deviate above the level, I don't take the trade. Or bullish confirmations as we deviate below. Like down here, I'd be looking for something like a bullish divergence or something like that, but we don't have the bullish divergences here, right? So if price came down to this level, I wouldn't take a trade. If you had an order set here, you would just enter the trade regardless and then wind up getting either stopped out or liquidated or wrecked, right? So it's a little bit more gambly in my opinion because, again, like I only take trades if I get the confirmations, and there's no way if you're not looking at the actual charts while price hits that level, you're not going to see those confirmations, if that makes sense. So there you go, guys. But with oh wait, hang on. Shout out to Sirac. Shout out to you. Said, do you think Bitcoin will drop again till tomorrow morning? That's kind of hard to say, to be quite honest. Let's see. Let's go back to the 30-minute. Yeah, I mean, I'm really looking for that 30-minute money flow crossover. Let's see, that 8-hour red dot confirmed yet? Yeah, we got about an hour left on that 8-hour red dot. If we get that 30-minute money flow crossover, I do think you can get a bigger drop to the downside. If you go to the beginning of the stream, Sarax, thank you for the super chat, bro. I don't know if you saw the beginning of the stream, but if you didn't, scrub back. I kind of talk about the lower time frames. And yeah, you could check that out. 30-minute money flow crossover into the red could give us the move, but if we don't get it, maybe we just go sideways or get a little pump to the upside off the daily green dot. But with all that being said, guys, I got to jump out of here real quick. I may actually not have time for a Frankie fake out. And I'm sorry we didn't have time to go over more of the altcoins, but I got to jump out of here. And with all that being said, thank you all for tuning in. Hopefully this live stream helped you guys. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully at least the TA was able to give you some key levels to put on your chart. If not, hopefully you learned something about the volume profiles or some of the strategies that I use to predict these moves on Bitcoin before they happen. And hopefully you can start doing that so you can catch these moves and make money trading Bitcoin, whether the price goes up or down. Shout out to the Candle Mafia. I'll see you guys tomorrow. That's all I got. Hasta pasta. Frankie Candles out. Bing bong.
Look what's next for me, Joe. I'm gonna get that second bell. Where the f is it? They should have had them 2 bells ready. Spit shine for me.
Yeah. Head up in the clouds, dog, they saying I look stressed. I've been feeling down, pray to God that I'm up next. Remember when she blew me off, that's why I can't text. Now she call me petty, but I swear I can't forget. This ain't a test. Now they saying that I ball like Jerry West. Coming back for what is mine, can't take no less. I said go and take a shot, so I need your best. And stop the threats, so nobody's into me. I don't got time, I'm not giving the energy. Too many people around me, I'm finicky. I do not mess with you, dog, you're not kidding me. You don't got way too close. I've been up at the top now, so they all wait for the landslide. I seen too many people that switched up, whose man's high. Through it all, I stay the same, I swear to God, I can't lie. Been down so damn low that I came up for my life. They talk way too much on the internet, it's not real life. I swear my fam waiting, I can't lose, and I'm still right. Still right, I swear that I'm working, I'm up till like midnight. It's real life, I got a time and I'm coming to get mine. In time, I cannot lose and I'm coming right inside. I'm in my, yeah.